Hi and welcome to a new episode of the Qulture Qanvas podcast. My name is Asim and I'm joined with Sania and Riaz. Hey Sania, hey Riaz.
Hi.
As usual, we're a market research agency focused on diversity and reaching difficult audiences. The podcast is here to engage, enlighten, and kind of bridge the gap between market research. This episode is more about us, about how we're building up this agency together. And this is our origin story episode, right? Because I think a lot of people ask us, because what is Qulture Qanvas? How is it built up? And I think it's nice to just kind of talk about that a little bit. I feel, Riaz, I think you're kind of the glue that got us together. I think you should kind of maybe kick this one off.
In terms of how we met?
Yeah, I think how we met.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting, right? Because we all kind of got to know each other through research and became friends, I like to think. And I think I recall you connected with me first, Asim.
Was it?
Yeah, because I wrote an article on LinkedIn and you liked it, which was great. And then from that, we kicked off. And Sania, through the work that I do in field work and recruitment, and at the time, Sania was looking for sample. That sound right? And yeah, from that, we kind of just carried on talking and obviously created our relationship through research. But I think we always had that kind of vision of doing something collectively, as a unit. I think it really just started off as maybe doing an article or a publication or something along those lines. And then from that, obviously, your podcast and Bollywood, that was a big interest. And Sania is mad about Bollywood and all things that Bollywood, right? So, yeah, I think from that connection, we kind of started talking, but the magic really happened when you guys bumped into each other. Was it as a premiere?
Yeah.
So it's funny how kind of things work out, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, the rest is history.
Because I remember, it was literally, I was listening to a podcast and they were saying that if you like something, comment on it, reach out to the person, congratulate them, because that's cool. They're putting themselves out there and everybody's kind of hungry for feedback, either positive or negative. And I listened to that podcast and I saw Riaz's article on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, I'm not as active as you are, for sure. And, both of us are kind of not as great at it. But at that time, I was like, I need to do a bit more activity on LinkedIn. And I saw your article and I was like, no, I'll comment on it. And from that podcast to now doing our own podcast, it's really crazy how it went. And I remember we were... because you'd been doing your ethnic opinions for a while, and we'd already collaborated on a project together, even, right? And I was more on the quant side with the Ken's Now panel and kind of creating this, but we were kind of missing something to put us all together, and that was Sania. And you introduced me to her. Your name was floating around, and then we just met up at this... Bollywood press screening randomly, right?
Yeah, that was really funny because I'd worked for that many years. I've always loved research. It's just, I'm one of the few that has always kind of flown the flag. But I was finding myself after the pandemic maybe a little bit burnt out and tired, and I kind of just wanted to go off, spread my wings. So then I set up my own consultancy, which was research. So Bite Stereotypes is research. It's also just kind of general strategic stuff. So I didn't know if I was ready to go back into some kind of big research thing and, found something. But yeah, it just so happened and we were in conversation, then we met there. And then I think you build that trust because okay, we've got common interests, common respect for, I don't know, like Shah Rukh Khan. So we're going to Deepika, big fan. Well, you just feel a bit more aligned and something felt like, okay, maybe this could work.
Yeah, because I think I created a company before Digital Age Research with a college friend back in the day, and that went really horribly. And although we had known each other for so long, that didn't work out at all. But immediately when I kind of connected with both of you, something just seemed right, and it's almost something intangible. Yeah. And everything kind of started to make sense. And that's where we kind of got the idea for Qulture Qanvas, that we can all get together. And our skills were also very complementary, but also our personalities, I feel. So yeah.
Yeah.
Complementary. Sorry.
No, go for it.
Yeah, no, complementary, but also different skill sets,
Yeah.
right? And I think with our unique offering of having three different companies, rather than just acting as three consultants coming together, was real value. And I think we've always kind of, propped ourselves up, championed each other, and that works really well. We've got to like each other, right?
Yeah.
I think that skill set thing is really interesting. So I was reading something, one of my management things a few years ago, and they were saying it's very useful to have different skill sets. If you have the same, and especially in research, I think there's a bit of flexing muscle about who's methodologically better, or like it's like a sport in some ways, So I think some competition can come in, or egos can come in. So actually, all having different domains, understanding each other's domains, but respecting each other's particular skills, I think for me was a really nice dynamic as well.
So we've been at this for a couple of months now. What do you guys see is like the biggest challenges for us as a company, like building this business? What are kind of the challenges you are seeing?
I think it's the client side of things, like making sure that the work, that they're investing in the work, they understand the importance of it, they know they can trust people that will do it well, because this work has been done badly in the past. There are some examples that stick in my mind, or have been very harmful to communities.
Yeah.
So I think clients knowing that, right, they're confident enough to do it, and there's a company there. So that client buy-in, I think, is a big one.
I think that's also something that's connected all of us, that we really care about the community. The voices being heard in the right way, and the reports being presented in the right way. And I think that's something that connects us really well. What about you, Riaz? What do you think as some of the challenges we're seeing?
A big thing is obviously our own USP, right? And when you have a USP and a specialism and being in a niche, it's about getting the clients to understand that. And I think within agencies as well, it's like people focus a lot on the why, but don't really present how they do things in terms of their deliverables. So it's all well and good being unique and having a niche and having a speciality, but ultimately, if the client can't buy into it and understand that, then the insights and the deliverables that come from that will be lacking. So I think this podcast is fantastic. The things that we're doing outside of Qulture Qanvas, all individually, the noise that we're making on LinkedIn, and the clients that we've already worked with individually as a company and now as a collective, is raising awareness. And I think that in itself will help break down those barriers.
I think also what's interesting for us is that, and this is from a conversation we recently had, is are we a solely diversity-based market research agency? And we're not, right? But that's the tough part with kind of creating a business, that you're in a niche. So do you embrace that niche, or do you still explain that no, we can do more or not, and basically get muddled? You don't know where you are. Yeah.
I think it's a really good business question, Asim, actually, because I talk about when I first started this, I was very niche, working at a company that was just ethnicity focused. Then the clients weren't there, the money wasn't there, so I had to broaden out. Now, at this stage in my career, this is just something I'm really passionate in and I really believe in. Like, I could still go and research, I don't know, chocolates or anything, and I always find some sort of interest and joy in that too. But I think, for me at least, it feels like the time is right. Maybe, Riaz, like you said, maybe it's about trying to actually now change behaviors and lead and guide, rather than just sit and let the projects and the money roll in and not do much for it, really.
I would like the money to do
Definitely.
Belgian halal, Belgian chocolates is what we need to do.
Yes, man. When is the niche too niche?
It's a difficult one. I came up with a quote or a motto where being niche helps you stand out, but having a speciality makes you truly valuable. And that in itself, drives us as Qulture Qanvas. We have a passion, and I think that's really important that we have that passion. But I do understand that sometimes you have to deliver projects outside of your speciality. But as Sania's also alluded to, right, the industry is now starting to understand the value of that. So I think as long as you have that knowledge, you have the right partners, you have the right people and team around you that can deliver with your speciality, then you're on to a winner really. And if as long as you're getting great feedback, sometimes it's hard early on, but it is important to kind of have your own space and lane, because otherwise you're just what differentiates you from any other agency.
That's a good point.
And I think it almost would be dumb for us not to embrace who we are, right? Like for me, it was very organic. Like most of my work is not diversity based, just because a lot of it is online based.
Yeah.
And there was the idea that diverse audiences aren't online yet, and I knew that wasn't true, but I just ended up getting a lot of projects that I was working on that were focused on ethnicity and diverse audiences, and when we started tackling them at Digital Age Research, they were so easy to do because we knew how to reach these people and how to engage with them. And that's where I understood that there's a real lack in other companies of understanding it. They don't have any bridge to these audiences, and they don't even have the staff that can understand it. And we've all had the conversation that you go to meet a client or you go to their website and you understand this company will never get diversity. So it would be insane for us not to embrace it, as we're all three, Muslim or Pakistani background people, to not be a diversity focused company. But we still have the skill set. And I'm basically saying this because because I also work with a lot from my podcasting Bollywood work. I know a lot of writers that are Asian or Desi or stuff like that, and they would like to do work that is not only within the Bollywood niche and things like that. And those gates are still closed. They cannot reach that level, and if they do, they usually tend to only be sent to stuff that is then diversity focused, be it a Dev Patel movie or a Slumdog Millionaire, and then those movies don't come around that often. So I think it's kind of a catch-22 situation where, do you embrace it or not? We have obviously chosen to embrace it, but it's also clear that we can also deliver on so many other things.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing. I would try to make it clear that I focus on diversity not just because I'm a diverse individual, but because I actually really, really care and understand the dynamics. I've studied like ethnic conflict. That's my passion, is understanding those dynamics. Yeah. No, but see, I always studied race relations. I was like, but how do I turn that into like, what area of that do I want to work in, which is where the data side came in and that I love. But yeah, like I said, I could do just, justice to a project that's on printers, which is where I started my career. Printer ink.
We'll
Yeah,
have to
globally.
hear more about that next episode.
But yeah, so it's knowing that you've got the skills, but actually this for me has always felt like my passion and my calling, and it makes a difference. So that's why I love this niche. So one thing that I like with our dynamic is I don't know, I think I take things a bit more personally. Like whereas I think Asim, you're really good with the sales background, and you're like, no, it's a numbers thing. We can just keep going with it. So that definitely, at least for me, helps me feel a bit more relaxed or like supported. So that's always nice to have that.
Yeah,
dynamic.
please say nice things about me. This is a good segment. Like, yes, what do you like about me?
Yeah, no, but that teamwork element, right? Like we blend really well together. We all like prop each other up. We all support each other in what we do. And that's, one might be a bit more business minded, one might be a bit more technical, but we add some great value and we have some great conversations. So that's really important, right? Because I've seen many companies fail on the back of just not having an understanding of each other in their vision of the business. You just do it for the sake of it, and that's not the best way. And I think because we all have our own businesses, I think that's really helped. We haven't just started out trying to do a business. We have our own vested interests in our company, but they complement each other. And I think that's what's so great about Qulture Qanvas.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a company we started back in the day. Like, the company was called VGIMR. It was basically our initials and IMR, International Market Research. And I started this the moment my wife was pregnant. We decided to stop my job and create our own business, which is one of those crazy entrepreneur stories. And it was with an old college friend. But I think our visions were just not aligned at that time, and we had a very different view of how to kind of conduct ourselves. I value honesty a lot, even to the point where it can get detrimental to me. I will still be honest, and I think that's where the alignment wasn't really happening. And I think also there was maybe a lack of trust on our own skills. And at that time, I think we ran it for a couple of years, and then we disbanded it because it wasn't working out at all. And then I had the choice basically to should I take on another role at another company, which was doable at that time because it was just been 2 years and stuff like that. But I decided to just like start with digital age research, and that's been almost 10 years now, 10, 12 years, and I've never looked back. But I was missing the camaraderie of like a crew together, right? And that's what I really found with working with you guys, that it does feel that you have the support of people around you that you have full faith and trust in, and that can also add something that you're not adding, right? And if any of us derails or kind of goes off the track, we can pull each other back, and I think that's also needed.
I think we hold each other accountable, right? And it's fine to disagree. We have challenges, and I think we've kind of stood strong through that, and hope we continue to do that. And
yeah, where do you see us going, Riaz? Where do you see us like in a couple of years? Where do you want? What is your goal?
I want to be grandiose with my answer, but I guess it's like when it comes to diverse audiences, underrepresented audiences, and research, I want clients to our names to be at the tip of their tongue. That's what I would love, and I think we're already kind of knocking on doors, and people are aware of what we do. So may that continue.
What about you, Sania?
Asim, I see lots of data. I just see like us having
Matrix
the answer to anything, like what do diverse audiences think about? I don't know, how's Ramadan going for them? I would love to just have some, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but like a data version of it. But along with that, I think, just credibility and guiding and helping to have shaped more projects on diverse audiences, and having the industry and clients feel more confident in doing it. So I hope, inshallah, to just be doing lots more work and, like you said, be the go-to people for it.
Yeah, I think I want to also, the go-to persons for any of those diversity discussions. I think that the discussion part is also important for me. I want to have more discussions than conversations about what is needed and how we should kind of push these things forward. And it doesn't necessarily need to be attached to a project or a budget or anything like that. I just love having conversations about diversity. And I think if there is a conversation to be had, I would like us to be part of it or be supporting it one way or the other. I remember there was one comment that we got on LinkedIn, though, on the previous episode that I wanted to get into, is that they would like more Bollywood on the podcast.
Oh.
So I didn't know how Riaz was going to feel about that, though.
Yeah, it's funny because you guys you're reeling me in, right? You're trying to educate me here more and more on Bollywood. Go for it, guys. I'm letting you lead.
Well, guys,
educate me.
I will say there is a need. I was at an event the other day, and there was actually Pakistani dramas, and the artists were here, the actors. But a lot of people are saying that it is the diaspora and their engagement with Bollywood or Pakistani content that is driving its growth.
Yeah.
Which I do think is a project in and of itself.
We were talking about this, founders' business being very gut-driven. And I think in the creative industry, that's even more so because it is so based on your personal feelings and what you want to express through your art. And that is so far removed from insight and market research and business sometimes even. Even the idea of show business can clash. Add to that, reporting and quant data, that's like a whole thing that people don't know or don't even care about. But I think that is a very important thing, that I think that's how growth can happen. I know for Pakistani content creators, it's a challenge for sure because they don't have the established media that they can kind of, push their content through. but the demand is just getting big. I know how much of a fan you are
Yeah.
of Pakistani dramas, for example.
Well, huge, yeah. And I think one thing I'm noticing that they're doing is they're changing a lot of episodes based on what the feedback is saying. So they're watching and then they'll add new episodes. The one thing I wanted to say about social media feedback is it's great, but it's essentially it's the vocal minorities. So if you're basing off of all of your business decisions off of what social media comments are saying, it's only ever the super positive or
Yeah.
the super negative. So it's about 10% of the population. That remaining 80-90% you don't really know much about, which is where research comes in, like thorough research where you've got a spread across your sample. So I think that's something that hopefully we can offer at some point.
That could be our niche. Go to Bollywood researchers.
Yeah, yeah, it could be.
You guys would love that.
We're going to drag you into it, man. We're going to drag you into it. I think that kind of wraps up this episode. Two things I wanted to basically say is we're still very much open to feedback and ideas. If there's any topics that you want us to discuss, any ideas that you want us to, or any questions you might have, drop us an email at hello@cultureqanvas.com. And we're also kind of exploring the idea of having guests on. I've actually had a few people reach out to me already that they want to kind of come on the Qulture Qanvas podcast and kind of have a discussion. What I do want to avoid is it's not going to be a discussion about how did you start in market research, because I find that unbelievably boring, although this is kind of what this episode was about. But when I'm telling the story, it's not that boring. But I mean, reach out to us if you are interested in kind of,
Yeah.
and we have already a few that we marked down, right, that we might kind of bring on.
Yeah, we've had some great interest, and I think sort of evolving this conversation and having a dynamic of someone else bring a point of view would be fantastic.
Yeah, maybe like a little case study of how they've applied research or we feel they could. Yeah, it'd be great to have business owners and stuff potentially too.
Sounds good. And I think we're also I also had a few people that reached out to me on how to start a podcast, so I might do like a post on that too, because I think
Yeah, that'd be a great
We should
idea.
do that.
give some tips on people. But anyway, this is it for this episode. Thank you for watching us, and we'll be back with a new episode soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.